spooky cats and kittens, and welcome back. This is day number 9. Man, it's been a week. It's day number 9 of the 13 Days of Halloween collab hosted by Lula from Nerd Goblin Art, and we are continuing my super cute and adorable neon Batty Tumbler, and it's a little slow going. This is going to be, I think, a 3-part series for this tumbler. And you know, sometimes tumblers just take time. So what I'm doing here is I'm going back in and I am making sure I'm covering areas that might not have gotten very good coverage the first time around. Now, if you haven't watched yesterday's video, you're probably lost. So I would recommend going back and watching that. But I'm going in and I'm only filling in areas that really need it. Since this is chunky glitter, it's already pretty thick and it's not going to lay perfectly flat no matter how much I press it down. So I don't want to go over areas I don't need to. And again, I'm just using that dishwasher safe Mod Podge and a fluffy brush, and I'm using a smaller brush because again, I'm not going in and doing full coverage anywhere. So once I complete this, I will pat it down and then I'll let it dry, and then I will come back in with a round of just the plain Mod Podge to seal everything in. I'm so sorry for bonking the camera and my cord is in the way. Man, when I'm telling you it has been a week, it has been a week and it's not even over yet. But you can see here that I am going over that with that plain Mod Podge and the same brush, and I'm just making sure I coat everything really well, and I'm going to let this dry for quite some time. In fact, I do let it dry overnight just to be on the safe side before I move on to the next step, which will be removing the painter's tape. Now that this is all dry, it's time to take the painter's tape off of the vinyl. And again, I should have glittered this entire tumbler, done a good coat of epoxy over that, and then laid down the vinyl, but I didn't do that. So I'm trying to be really careful because this layer of paint, Mod Podge, glitter, and another layer of Mod Podge is pretty thick, which means I have a good chance of sort of taking a big chunk out of it. I do a really good job with most of the tumbler, but you'll see exactly what I was afraid of comes true. Right at the end, I was so frustrated. I tried so hard. I wasn't worried about a little chip out, but this is going to be a tough one to cover.
One eternity later.
I sat there and stared at it for a while, trying to figure out what in the heck am I going to do to cover it. And I decided that I'm going to need to do some fairly thick pinstriping, maybe even some alcohol ink toward the bottom of the tumbler. For now, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the edges of the glitter. So I'm taking a craft knife and I'm drawing as straight a line as I can. I'm not drawing. Hello, Erica. I'm cutting. I'm cutting as straight a line as I can, and then just sort of peeling up that paint, Mod Podge, glitter layer, if you will. And I do this at the bottom as well, but for that, I'm actually using painter's tape. Here I'm using the painter's tape just to get the bits of glitter off I couldn't reach or couldn't really get to because it's a little indentation up there. But on the bottom I'm using the painter's tape as a guide for the line I'm going to cut. One of the potential issues when using Mod Podge to apply glitter to a tumbler or anything like that is that it dries pretty quickly. By using the gloss dishwasher safe Mod Podge, I have extra time. It does not dry as quickly. So that really helps in this situation. Once I have made that fairly straight cut, I go in with some electrical tape to tape off the bottom. I'm leaving a little bit of that stainless steel exposed between the bottom part and the end of that glitter so that the epoxy has something to grip to. And this is about 30 milliliters of the Flynn Sisters Supply Shop Fast Cure Epoxy. I go in with a really generous coat. Again, this is very chunky glitter. I'm not expecting it to be perfectly smooth after this coat, but I'm hoping that doing this sort of thicker coat the first time around, I can minimize the amount of sanding I have to do and of course the amount of coats of epoxy. When you tape off your tumbler, make sure you remove that tape before it cures. If you cure the tape on there, it is going to be so difficult to get off. Trust me, I know this from experience. Here I am, popping bubbles. This will go into my tumbler curing machine from Resiners for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then it will be time for our next step, which you will see tomorrow. Head on back tomorrow for day 10 and see me finish this tumbler. Don't forget to watch the other videos in the playlist, which you will find in my description as always. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Stay creepy, cats and kittens, and I'll see you soon.